Welcome back to another episode of the Field of 68's off-season grades. My name is Rob Dauster. I have Terrence Oglesby with me, a certified Big East guy, and we're going to be talking about the Big East's Providence Friars. T.O.,
Can't wait to be told what I'm saying wrong in this one.
it's going to happen a lot. The Friars are losing two guys that were about as integral in what Kim English was doing last season as anybody in college basketball. And Josh Adoro at the 5 and Devin Carter at the point. Big East Player of the Year, Devin Carter at the point guard spot. They also lose
lottery pick, Devin
Carter at the point. They also lose a good two-way guy in Ticket Gaines, as well as a high ceiling former four-star recruit Garway Duwall, who is now a Seton Hall Pirate. Shout out to Dagan Hughes. They brought in Wesley Cardette, Jabri Abdul-Rahim from Georgia, Bensley Joseph from Miami, and a guy, a high ceiling, 7 foot, 280-pound, 5-man rising sophomore, Christ Esandoko from St. Joe's. Most importantly, T.O., they brought back Bryce Hopkins. And maybe the biggest question mark is they also brought back Jaden Pierre. What do you make of what Kim English is building in year 2 in Providence, in Friartown, in Providence?
Hey, believe it or not, Providence Friar fans, they're not a national championship contender. I do think they're better. I do think they're better than they were last year. Some of the guys that they added, Bensley Joseph, I'm a fan of. Tough, hard-nosed guard, understands his role, was a good player at Miami last year. Probably wasn't capable of doing what Miami needed last year in terms of like another guy to score from that guard position, but he's a Big East guard. He's not overly big. He's tough as nails, and he's strong as an ox. Jabri Abdul-Rahim, he was a highly recruited kid out of the Northeast area, goes to Virginia first, doesn't really fit that well, goes to Georgia, was good, not great. What he really is a hard-nosed 6'8", 3-and-D guy. I think he's going to fit, and he's going to be pretty switchable, and I think he's a tough kid. I think he'll fit the Big East well, and I think the Friar Faithful will really like his game. Esandoko is huge. He's huge. The person that I'm most intrigued by is Wesley Cardette Jr. He started at Samford, was good, goes to Chicago State, was great. He's never played against high major competition consistently, but everywhere he's been a really good player. He's a former top 75 kid coming out of high school. It was a shock that he went that route for the first two schools. They need somebody to step into the role of Devin Carter. Who's going to be that guy? I think you're going to look at one or two guys. I think it's Wesley Cardette Jr., or you're going to see a big improvement from Justin Fernandez, who was a highly touted guy going up to George Mason and playing for Kim English that shocked a lot of people. Follows him up to Providence, didn't get that big of a role. He's going to be relied on.
He was hurt last
this
year.
Season.
He was hurt last year.
Yeah, sorry. He was hurt last year. Didn't play. Sorry. I knew that. I apologize. I do think that he's capable of having a good season for Kim English.
Yeah. So I agree with everything that you just said. I also think the most important bit of news that they got in the offseason was Bryce Hopkins coming back.
Yeah, huge.
Like there were, I'm sure you heard all of the rumors how in like the day before the portal was closed, it was this team's offering him X amount of $1 million, and this team's offering X amount of $1 million, and he's going to put his name in the portal, and he's going to be gone. And he ended up coming back to school, which I think is a really, really big thing because he can be the guy that he could be your star, right? Like, I don't know if he'll be as good as Devin Carter was last year, but I do think he is someone that is capable at times of being able to carry a team. And I think what we saw last season was by the end of the year, like Carter he's getting shoulder surgery right now. Like he was just so banged up by the end of the season that he was the walking wounded and kind of like tough. Everything he did in the last like 3 weeks of the year was toughing it out because he just did not have enough help. Now, here's my biggest question. And this kind of plays into what the X factor will be. Jaden Pierre. Which Jaden Pierre are we going to get? Because the last 3 games of the season, right, against Creighton in the Big East tournament, he had 15 and 7. He was great. He was the best player on the floor in that game. Against Marquette, he finished with 16 points. Against BC in the first round of the NIT, he had 21 points. Now, if you go from January 24th through the start of the Big East tournament, he had 2 games where he scored in double figures. They need him to be a guy. They need him to be a dude. They need him to be someone that can get you double figures, that you can run offense through, that can be a creator out of ball screens, that can create shots for a bunch of the wings that have showed up with this program this offseason. I think he is the key to this team, whether or not they are a tournament team, whether or not they have a chance to compete at the top of the Big East, and a team that is going to end up back in the NIT this year. Like, I think Jaden Pierre, he has to take a step forward for me this season.
Yeah, and he has the mentality to be that leadership guy on the floor. That was one thing whenever he signed at Providence, Ed Cooley raved about like how tough this kid is, what he's going to develop into. I think when he saw success those last few games at the end of last year, like those are the type of opportunities for young players where it finally clicks and then you roll into next season and it keeps going, especially going into your junior year. Big fan of Jaden Pierre, what he's able to do on the floor. I just think he's a pit bull type of mentality guy. I think he's going to have a good season. I think this Providence team makes the NCAA tournament. I like the pieces, and we're going to grade them later, but you're going to have one guy really step up, because I think Bryce Hopkins is going to return to form. He's going to be able to take over some games. He's going to win you games by himself at times. Who's going to be those other guys? I think Jaden Pierre is going to be one of them. You probably need one, maybe two more guys to step up and not take over games per se, but kind of be an Alfred, if you will. Like the Alfred moniker has gone around a lot. Who's that third, fourth, sometimes fifth guy that comes out, has a great game, and you could swing a game. They're going to need a couple more of those guys. But I like Jaden Pierre. I like his mentality. And I think that whenever you have success like that at the end, that just grows confidence at the right times, and you can go in and have a terrific offseason as a result.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the year. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. The best part, all you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money to be eligible. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. BetMGM is going to have some fun offers available throughout the NBA playoffs. Bet insurance tokens, odds boost, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two from time to time, as well as a ridiculous array of player prop bets for any sport that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use the bonus code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share the YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show. Yeah, I think that's what Kimmy is kind of betting on, because the one thing he did not go out and do this offseason in the portal was go out and add at the point guard spot, right?
Yeah.
And when you're losing Devin Carter and you know you got Jaden Pierre coming back, right? Like, if you were concerned about that, and that's the thing, like, Providence did their work early in the portal, right? I think we looked up 3 weeks in and they had Bensley Joseph, Christ Essendoko, Jabri Abdul-Rahim, and Wesley Cardet. Like, they were the first team to kind of have like a full roster of transfers coming in, like a full transfer class signed. And the fact that Jaden Pierre was not one of the guys that he tried to upgrade, I think says a lot about what Kim thinks about him as a. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
part of like being able to figure out what a staff thinks of a guy is who are they recruiting over? Where are they trying to add more bodies? Like, Rafael Castro transferred out of the program, and they brought in Christ Essendoko, who is, I think, like a high ceiling, big bodied, physical, can floor space it a little bit. Like, I know the St. Joe staff thought really, really highly of him long term. So I think it says a lot that they didn't recruit over Jaden Pierre.
Yeah, it does. And Essendoko, like, floor space it a little bit. The dude is just huge. Whatever he gives you from a skill perspective is a bonus. So St. Joe's had a better roster last year than people realized, and he was a big part of that. But they need that big, monstrous dude in the middle. He certainly gives them that. The guy I'm most, not most intrigued with, but another guy I am, and I think Bensley Joseph's going to be a good quality fit. Secondary playmaker beside Jaden Pierre at times. They've got pieces, man, and I feel like they're going to be great at home. We know that. There's enough offense, not just Bryce Hopkins and Jaden Pierre, but there's enough around it to where they're going to be able to sneak a couple on the road that they're not supposed to win. I think this Providence team makes the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I do too. The one concern is their non-conference schedule is not all that flattering.
That doesn't matter.
I know.
Well, we've been through this, Rob.
They're going to have to
terrible. Play the battle for Atlantis one, win a game or two, and then beat the brakes off everybody. We've been through this.
Well, no, I know. Well, they're going to have to, like, it puts a lot of pressure on having to win those big games, right? Especially early on in the season. It puts a lot of pressure on, we got to get a couple on the road against the Marquettes and the Creightons and the Xaviers. And then
well, that's a good thing about the Big East this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be better this year. So I think there's going to be more opportunities for marquee wins in league. And I think Kim and company are banking on that.
So what would your expectation level be for this group? Because I look at it on paper and I think the expectations for them should be like, if you get in the tournament, you've had a good season if you're Providence.
Yeah.
Kim, I love him. I think he's going to have a very long career as a head coach. He's never made the tournament. You can't sit here and say like, you got to be a second weekender or it's an unsuccessful. Like the dude's never been in the tournament. Get in the tournament. Then we can start talking about having some success. I think the expectation should be they are a tournament team, right? I think the expectations will be that this should be a top 25 team. And I think that's kind of where, I don't know, that's one of the worries that I would have, is that maybe they're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse there.
You make the NCAA tournament, you should be happy. Kim's never been there. People forget to, like, Providence fans will probably take this as a slight, but like, there's process to these things, especially with young coaches. Like there's steps to this. I can't just sit here and say you're going to make an Elite Eight when your head coach has never made the NCAA tournament. I do think they do make the NCAA tournament this year. I have a lot of respect for Kim as a head coach. There's enough talent on this roster to make the NCAA tournament. How far they go all depends on matchups. Do I think they're a second weekend team? Depending on matchups, I think they can win a game in the tournament. I think that's as far as it goes. But the team's talented and they have enough. If Justin Fernandez and Cardette turn into superstar level dudes, then you have 3 and 4 guys that can do something on a given moment. So that changes you. But I think they make the tournament. Providence fans should be thrilled. You top 5 in the Big East. You should be thrilled because you're doing both. You're making the tournament and you're having a good season in league.
All right. Off-season grades. What do you got?
You know what? I'm kind of waffling back and forth on this. Like between a B, because everybody you added is going to provide value, and an A, not an A minus, an A, because I feel like Wesley Cardette could turn into the star that steps in to Devin Carter's spot. It's great. And then Bryce Hopkins is going to be healthy too. And Jaden Pierre is going to take a step forward. So a B, tentatively, to an A, depending on how Cardette is this season, because he's never done it against high major competition, but at the same time, the talent's certainly there, the frame's certainly there, and he has the frame that's going to adjust well to Big East play. That's one thing you look at with incoming transfers coming into the Big East. Do they have the frame? Because it's such a physical league to withstand a full season of it. I think Cardette could be that guy. So I'm going a B. However, with Cardette, if he turns into the star that a lot of people think he's going to be able to, you're going to move up to an A really quick, and Providence is going to have a heck of a season.
Yeah, I went B+. Like, you lost Devin Carter and Josh Aduro. Devin Carter, once he was as good as he was, like, he was never coming back. Josh Aduro's eligibility, like, that is a lot to fill. But you kept Bryce Hopkins from going into the portal, which is something that a lot of people thought would end up happening. And I don't know if they had necessarily like the best transfer portal class, but they had a really damn good transfer portal
class. Really good. It's a really good transfer class. No, it's a really good transfer class knowing your best players coming home.
Yep.
Right? Like, you filled pieces around it. Cardette and Justin Fernandez, and we could go ahead and count Justin Fernandez since he got hurt last year. I know I made that boneheaded statement earlier. He didn't get much. This is our fifth one right now. Yeah. I think he's going to be a good player for you. You can count him in that transfer class as well. Like, could be an A. Could be an A.
Well, he didn't get to have a big role last year, but that was probably because he tore his ACL.
Yeah, it's because
Aprils.
yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I knew that too, and I'm just over here speaking out of my ass. My bad.
It happens, man. It happens. The Providence fans won't ever hold that over your head.
Yeah, right. Dude,
That'll
they'll
never
crush
happen.
me for a month after this.
Yeah, listen.
Good
I
player.
think,
He's going to be a good player for him too. He's big. He's switchable. If it's a role, can shoot it a little bit. Hope he comes back healthy and happy, and he can get going.
yep, I agree. Listen, that was the breakdown of the Providence Friars. We will have about 45 of these off-season grades videos coming out over the course of the next 2 months or so. So for Terrence Oglesby, my name is Rob Dauster. Stay here. Field of 68. We'll be breaking down all of college basketball over your summer vacation.